Hi there, this is Linda from North Central Texas again. It's been raining today or yesterday, and we're supposed to get more rain today, and my tomato bushes are just falling over, and I've been using these green stakes, and tomato cages and different things, but I tried to come up with a way to make the little stakes that I have on my tomato plants not to fall over. So I was watching Robbie and Gary, Gardening Made Easy, and she was using this tubing that she buys in 50-yard rolls or 50-foot rolls, real cheap. But you know what? I said, I've got some old garden hose. And this is supposed to be gardening easy, gardening at minimum cost or no cost if possible. So what I did is I took old garden hose that I had out in the shed. I threw it in the shed figuring I was going to use it to patch other hoses, or either just threw it in there until, I decided to put it out on the trash pile for the sanitation guys to pick up. Well, after watching her video, I said, well, I don't want to go in debt or not in debt, but I don't want to spend more money and get tubing. So I said, well, I've got old garden hose, which is about the same size. So you know what I did? I went out there and I got some of my garden hose and I cut it the lengths I wanted. I took my hot glue gun, because I don't have a soldering iron, and I guess I really need to get one. And what I did was made holes. I just melted holes down in the end of it like that. I didn't care if there was an inch at each end. It didn't matter to me. It's hose that I was going to throw away anyway. But I measured the lengths I wanted, and I put holes in the ends of each one, the size, so I know my garden stake would go through. You might have to work it a little bit, but see, it does go through it. And you can keep making your hole bigger if you need to. And I might have to do these since they've dried out. Since they've gotten hard. It's easier to work with them when they're hot or still hot. But I'm going to take you out there and show you how I put them on my poles. And see, I just have to work around and go every which way with these things to try to make my hole big enough. If you have a soldering iron or something, even a drill that you want to drill through them, I guess if you have the right size drill bit, you could use a drill. Some guys have a lot of different drill bits. I don't. I've got sets. I don't. I've got some that I've used, here at the house and bought different sizes, but I don't think I have the right size to drill a hole through this the old garden hose. So it would be the right size. Because if you take them out there when they're still hot, you have more of a chance of getting that hose through there. I've found anyway. Or maybe it's because I just didn't make my holes big enough. You make your holes big enough, you're going to get that hole through there. I think most of these are the right size. But you just have to keep working with it till you get your hole big enough that that tubing goes through there with that tomato stake. I might try to make that one just a tad bigger. It's a little bit different than making a hole in the tubing that Robbie used because that's a little bit lighter weight stuff. Garden hose usually has like a mesh inside the rubber of it to give it sturability, to make it strong, you know, so your water pressure doesn't pop a hole in it. Yeah, I think it'll go through there. So now I think I'll take you out there with me and see if we can't get this tubing Here's another little hack for you. I've been out here cleaning up my greenhouse, and I just noticed that there was holes in the top. And I didn't want to replace the whole thing yet this year, so what I did, I had this tarp that I had some bags of mulch covered up with last year. And I had it in the shed, so I brought it out and I've covered my greenhouse with it. Now there's enough of the sides, the back, and the front that's open that there's going to be enough sunlight that gets in there for what I'm going to use it for. Because I found last year with the whole top open, it was getting too much sun in there and my plants were getting too hot, even in the greenhouse. So I went ahead and decided to put that tarp up just across the top of it. That covers up the holes that got in it over the winter and in this heat that we've had. And I'm going to go ahead and use it this winter, and maybe next winter do something else. I might use the frame of this one and put panels, clear panels on the sides, and maybe the green panels on the top, something like that, and go ahead and turn it into a greenhouse without the plastic. I'll have actual panels put up on it. But anyway, that's an idea. And that just thought I'd show you that little thing. If you've got one of these little inexpensive greenhouses, you know, they hold up pretty good. I've had this one since last summer, and it made it through the winter. But this really hot heat that we've had, it couldn't handle it. And since there's no ventilation except for the bottom, it's really hard to keep anything together. I mean, you know how 109, 110 degrees heat's going to do for something like this. I mean, they're pretty sturdy, but the only way I've got to ventilate it is to unzip the front door and tie it up. And then that lets ventilation in there. But anyway, I just thought I'd show you that. You don't have to throw that old greenhouse away. Just throw you a tarp on the top of it. If the sides are still good, and most of the top is still good, and it's still holding together, put you a tarp on top. That'll get you another winter's worth of work out of it. And like I said, next summer, I'll do something else. Hope that trick saves you some money this year. I know it's going to save me the cost of a new greenhouse. But there you go. Those pieces of water hose. And you can move them up and down. You know, adjust them to where you want them. But that's a good idea to use your old garden hose. See there? I cut the ends in these pieces right here, just from the top straight to the bottom, big enough for the pole to go through. And then the top pieces of garden hose just slips over the top, and there goes a big old spider. But I use archways or arbors for a lot of my plants to grow up, and also, you know, for my clematis. So that's the next best thing to staking up your tomato plants. And if you've got leftover garden hose, why not use it? Why throw it away when you can use it for tubing on your tomato stakes? I think it's a pretty good idea. I mean, if I didn't have the tubing, the garden hose, then yeah, I might go ahead and buy the tubing, but why bother spending the money even to get the tubing if you've got a leftover garden hose? One that sprang a leak, or, you know, one that got old and you were going to throw it away anyway. Just cut it up, put it on your tomato stakes. So I just thought I'd give you that little tip right there, and hope you have a blessed day. We got rain yesterday, and we were supposed to get more today, but it hasn't rained yet. It's looked like it's going to rain. And we've got a lot of thunder off in the distance, but I'm not sure we're going to get any more rain today. But anyway, try that hack. If you've got leftover water hose, don't throw it away. Cut it up, put it on your tomato stakes, and make you a stronger trellis out of it. With that, you have a blessed day. Like and share my videos. And if you live in Texas, stay cool.